Welcome back. Senator Craig Blair from Martinsburg, Majority Whip of the West Virginia Senate and Chairman of the Government Organization and Operations Committee.
Good morning, Bray.
You know, the most important thing, though, is that your daughter, Sarah, is in the West Virginia House of Delegates. She's the, I don't know if she's still the youngest member?
I believe she's probably the youngest member in the United States, for that matter. We're quite confident that she's the youngest one ever elected.
Well, I know she's the youngest one ever elected. And she's what, a sophomore at WVU?
She's a sophomore right now, be a junior in just a matter of a month, I guess, or less.
Wow. Well, it's great. We'll try to get her on.
Phenomenal individual. She
made quite a stir when she got elected just almost 2 years ago, but this will be a nice...
She's actually proved her mettle, too. Yep. I am very proud of her. For her capabilities.
Well, let's get to what you're working on, because you're becoming one of the waste busters, and I think people in West Virginia are really interested in this. You've set up a hotline to report fraud, abuse, waste. Tell us about it, why you set it up.
Well, it's actually my team on the Senate Committee on Government Organization. We've not used one tax dollar to do this, and the phone line is already established. We have staff there that's working throughout the summer. It works year-round, and even the email costs nothing for that. And what we're doing is going out and collecting data. We took a look, and the DHHR actually has a waste and abuse hotline, but that's agency specific. And then the legislature actually has where there's a program where it's not whistleblowers, but if you got a suggestion and it saves the state money, they can award like 10% up to a certain value, things like that. But it didn't go quite far enough. And we looked at it and said, look, we got to respect the taxpayer. We got to get the message in. The best ideas come from the public.
You know, it's interesting, Senator, because Frank Luntz on Friday on television said that government waste and corruption is one of the top issues for voters across the country in the coming election. And I think that's real. I think, particularly here in West Virginia, I think people think that our government's too big and wasteful. I know that was a lot of the debate that was going on in the extra session.
Yes, it was, and we haven't stopped. We were working on this actually before that, so this isn't something that came out of it. It is not something political. But it is the right thing to do.
Waste is bipartisan, I'm sure.
Correct, and again, we're wanting to respect the taxpayer, and Bray, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you spend. And this is one of the ways we want to make sure if we've got to raise taxes somewhere down the road because the economy keeps getting less and less, which I don't want to do. I am totally opposed to raising taxes, but if we can go through and we make sure that we're running the most efficiently that we possibly can at all levels of government, then the taxpayers themselves will have a lot more confidence in what we're doing.
Well, then it's a real decision, because right now, I can tell you, and I'm for one, I believe we have a wasteful government. I think it's overinflated, it spends too much, and I would not support any tax increase until we figure out how to slim down our government and get all doing the stuff you're doing. I mean, we got it. And another good thing is y'all working on that cars audit. The state cars that we have more than any other state per capita.
And that's my counterpart on the House side, Delegate Gary Howe, who's the chairman of Government Organization. So we don't duplicate each other. We tongue and groove. And I know what he's got going on. He knows what I've got going on. We're not duplicating the work that we got out there. And I tip my hat to him. What we see come out of that may be significant. And there's going to be times where we get nothing out of what we're checking into, and that is a positive.
Right. Well, talking to Frank about Frank Luntz, and he suggested that a forensic audit by any level of government, which is what businesses do all the time to figure out where they're getting their dollar back in return in terms of services and where they need to cut. That would be a great thing here. And he suggested that Donald Trump, if he wanted to get elected, say he's going to do that in the first 100 days. Maybe our governors should be thinking about that. I want to go over to something positive you're working on to save the state money, and that's the West Virginia School of Osteopathic Medicine down in Lewisburg. That actually, I didn't realize, but half of all of our primary care physicians come from there in West Virginia, right? Mm-hmm. Tell us about it, what your idea is.
Well, the idea is to let them be a not-for-profit institution.
Right now, it's owned and operated by the state of West Virginia.
Correct. It's got a board and everything, but
like everything else owned and operated by West Virginia, it gets money from the state to keep it going.
Exactly. It's $6.8 million out of the general revenue budget, and it's a couple $100,000 more to make it come out to being like 7.1, 7.2 million. And if they go for being a not-for-profit, what happens is that comes out of the budget. And they're a shining star. Make no mistake about it. The osteopathic school in West Virginia is a shining star, but they have over 1,700 students apply each year for 200 positions. We're pushing to get this legislation on the call either
in the special session coming up in September?
In either August, September, as soon as possible. And the reason that we're doing it, we can't wait till, and this year the regular session would be in February instead of January.
So you want to get it done so they can start planning it?
Start planning and make it so that we can get done by the end of this fiscal year and have them start into the next fiscal year in a proper attitude.
And again, when you're looking for money and the state doesn't have to fund losses of something, I mean, get the government out of some of this stuff.
The thumb of government has been pressing down on whether it be business or all other things in this state, and we need to be able to take that off so that we can actually prosper and see when we do that and businesses prosper, so do the workers and their wages will go up. That's always my goal.
We need to get the thumb of the people on the government so that you all reduce regulation, lower our taxes, and get out of our way.
You can see the smile on my face when you said that. That was a good line.
All right.
Because that's what we're trying to do.
All right.